On J.D. Vance, he is someone who is, there are a lot of names always swirling around for Trump's potential vice president, but J.D. Vance is usually on the top of the list, when you talk to these people in Trump's orbit.
100%. There's a lot of people who think that ultimately it will be Vance. Now, to be clear, we have no idea what Trump is going to do, and it's a real fool's errand to try to predict who he's going to choose for anything. But Vance is very clearly a top choice, and part of it is because of what we just saw in that interview. He is really effective in defending Trump on television. Now, I think the Secret Service would also disagree that Mike Pence's life was not in danger, but that's a separate issue. Vance is communicating the message that Trump wants, both on the legal cases and against the media. And so there are a lot of reasons, including Trump's own personal comfort and chemistry. You know this as well as anybody. For Trump, so much of what he does with personnel comes down to chemistry and interpersonal relationships, and he really likes Vance.
He also brought up Matthew Colangelo there at the end. That is one of the prosecutors on the Manhattan District Attorney's team. When Trump was going after him, that was found to be a violation of the gag order. And the gag order was expanded, I should say, to include the people on Alvin Bragg's team, not Alvin Bragg, because there was a concern about them being put at risk, for implications like that. Trump's got another gag order hearing tomorrow. I mean, I wonder what you're making of how he's reacting to being fined $9,000, not a huge fee for him, but being told by the judge, if you keep doing this, jail is a real possibility.
There are some people around him who think that he is intentionally trying to see how far he can go and that he thinks that being jailed will help him, even if it's for a day. Most people I talk to who know Trump pretty well do not think that he actually really wants to go to jail. I don't think he wants to sit in that courtroom every day. Do people think that jail is going to be a more pleasant experience for him? But I do think that we see him often go up and touch the hot stove, and then he comes back a little bit, and sometimes he goes up again. He is always testing the bounds of what he can get away with. Now, he did take down the social media posts that he was ordered to take down yesterday. He did not, as you note, attack witnesses or people connected to the case, relatives of the court, et cetera, at his rallies today. But we'll see what happens going forward.
Trump doesn't even like to stay in hotel rooms. I remember on foreign trips when he was president, he didn't even like staying in other hotel rooms. But on the courtroom itself, you and I were both in there. You were in the row in front of me yesterday watching. It's really fascinating to be inside that courtroom and to see it. There's no cameras, but to actually see it with your own eyes and to watch Trump's demeanor as people like Keith Davidson are testifying about negotiating hush money payments on Stormy Daniels' behalf with him.
Yesterday was very tense in that courtroom, and there have been some days that have been tense. Some days have been pretty lax. Yesterday was very tense for a couple of reasons. The testimony that you're talking about, you had Keith Davidson, the lawyer for Stormy Daniels, during that time period of October 2016, just reading to validate these text exchanges with Michael Cohen or with Dylan Howard, the AMI executive who he was working with. And they were really, really damaging about Trump, with his middle son sitting behind him in the courtroom and a phalanx of aides. The Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, was there. David McIntosh from the Club for Growth was there. This was unusual to watch, and Trump deals with it. Sometimes he is sleeping. I know there's this huge sleeping debate, but
yes, the great debate of our time.
Right. It's the most important thing of the trial, and I mean that in no way. But sometimes he is sleeping. That is 100% true. I've seen it. People around him have confirmed to me that he has been sleeping at times that we have said he is. However, sometimes he is closing his eyes, and I've talked to people around him about this too, because that is how he tries to just basically stay calm and deal with it. And whether that then leads to sleep or whatever, who knows? But he is sitting there with his eyes closed for long periods of time. It's not always sleeping.
Yeah, I noticed this because he's very clearly awake, but his eyes are closed for like a minute at a time.
Sometimes more.
As Keith Davidson or the witness is answering. It's like he doesn't want to hear what they're saying.
I think it is a compartmentalization method, and he's pretty good at compartmentalizing.
And I know you'll be back in the courtroom tomorrow. Maggie Haberman, great reporting as always. Thank you.